Today I'm watching Are You Afraid of the Dark Season 1 Episode 8. I'm really enjoying this series so far. The past few episodes have been two of my favorite, with this prom queen urban legend, and then the previous episode with Danny and on vacation with their family, and Peter, have this sci-fi, cylinder machine trying to steal people's souls, and her parents aging. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I like when there's, the twists, and I love sci-fi, so anytime sci-fi is involved. I'm hoping we learn more about the Midnight Society. We've had a few episodes where we learn little pieces, mostly about Kristen, so I'm not sure when the other characters will have a chance, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I definitely remember hearing about the show when I was younger, and even, the title being like, Are You Afraid of the Dark? My answer would be like, yes, I am, thank you, so I'm not gonna watch the show. I stayed away from anything spooky. I'm also watching Goosebumps. You can check out those reaction videos as well. I like that they do, a mix of variety with the cast and the stories, and even, it's an anthology, so you would expect those things, but I still think they do a good job of mixing it up, and, not every storyline is the same. We've had, a carnival, we've had summer vacation, we've had a Halloween episode, so I really like that they put in that effort, especially with a short form kids show. Sometimes I feel like they don't try as hard, but I think they've done a great job with this show, so I'm very excited to continue watching and see where it goes. But thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And if you want to have a say in what movies or TV shows I watch, be sure to join Patreon. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content.
Boring. So what's your problem? You're kind of gross and boring too.
Yeah. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, except for Eric.
Yeah, he's like, I'm over this. I don't want to hear your stories. That's the second Night of the Living Dead reference. I'm assuming because it's copyright free and they could access it. And kid's like stress eating his popcorn.
Hey, new neighbors moving in.
At night?
That is very suspicious. Maybe he's a vampire? Are we doing vampires?
I think they look cool. Maybe they're artists, or foreign diplomats.
They definitely seem stiff.
No, they look stupid.
Whoever they are, they don't fit this boring neighborhood.
Oh, that's not unsettling at all. They heard you. Vampires have good hearing. Oh man, they're vampires. That's what I'm going with.
Need a hand?
I need a new back.
What's in the box?
Whatever it is, they got two of them.
It looks coffin-shaped, perhaps.
I'm late. Don't forget to tell your father about— Oh! I'm sorry. I'm late. Bye.
She's like, sorry about your problems. I'm late. Bye, though. Good luck with everything, but see ya. Just knocks down the mailman and takes off. What a jerk.
Yeah, I just got a touch of something. I'm as weak as a kitten.
They've said that line so many times. The old neck bandage, vampire bite.
Can I come in and play?
It's kind of late.
Maybe some other time.
This kid looks familiar though, but she's like hiding behind the garbage can. This poor kid. Vampire kid though.
Moved in.
Things seemed very strange indeed.
It's giving me like Salem's Lot, Fright Night vibes, which I love both of those, so I'm very excited. With this fog and this like big piano music behind it. I've done to suck your blood. Yep.
What? Give me that.
I know what's wrong with the bronze.
Me too. They have a crazy neighbor. You.
Big time trouble.
Can he not just pour himself a glass of blood juice right now?
Adios, Emma.
What are you doing?
Vampires don't like garlic.
Neither do I. Maybe I'm a vampire.
Watch out for the staples.
A vampire can't come into someone's home unless it's been invited.
Thank you. Finally, she knows the rules.
They leave the same time every night, probably in search of their next victims.
I'm trying to think of what else it could be. Obviously, they're setting up to be very, very, very much like vampires, but I'm hoping it's not. Like, that seems so obvious, and I'm hoping there's some kind of twist or something that isn't horribly cheesy, but I also love cheesy, so we'll see where it goes. But I'm glad Emma at least is familiar with vampire lore and isn't, like, you know, putting the audience through all the tropes that we know of.
No, wait. My dad's not home, and, maybe you should come back another time. Bye!
They're kind of reminding me of The Gentleman a little bit, just with, like, them, like, their expression and the black clothing. Oh no, she's gonna let them in.
I'm sorry my husband isn't here. He works late.
Ah, we know what that's like.
Oh no!
Absolutely fascinating work, although sometimes a bit, bloody.
As she touches her lips. Yeah, right, come on! They're giving me, like, Addams Family vibes, too, which I love. So I'm very curious to see where this is gonna go. I'm trying to think of what else they could be.
It's getting late, Day-Day.
Don't worry, Day-Day. Now that we've been invited, I promise you we'll be back.
Yeah, and he means that. Yeah, he's like, that's my worst nightmare. No, I had one job.
Coffins? No, they've got these refrigerators locked. I want to see why.
Whoa, that looks like a lot of blood on ice. In the fog. Dun da da da.
Tomorrow after school. Before it's dark, we gotta get them before they get us.
What are you gonna do with a baseball bat? You're gonna knock them out?
What's in it?
Wooden spikes. We have to find the coffins and drive the wooden spikes through their hearts.
This girl's seen an episode of Buffy or two.
Here. Wear this, just in case.
And I was wondering if we would ever do an episode about anything other than ghosts, so I'm curious to see, where this is gonna go. Okay, she is out in the daytime.
You must be Day-Day's sister Emma.
Also, I mean, it's creepy that they would have so much, but if they're paramedics and they're like, I'm trying to rationalize it.
It all changed, thank goodness.
You feel like they would keep the vials of blood at work, not at home, but...
Work in a hospital. That's why they have blood.
And how was I supposed to know that?
We better get them before they get us, Day-Day.
Yeah, she was ready to go, man. Bat in hand.
Never gonna let you forget this.
Oh, give me a break.
You're a loser. You're a big loser.
Wake up, Master. The sun is gone.
Whoa! Lex is the master.
There's blood here.
And no one believes that a little boy can be a vampire.
Yeah, that's not what I was thinking at all. Oh my god. I figured the parents had turned him into a vampire, not that he was the master.
There are no rules, but a vampire's bite only comes at night.
Ooh, spooky. I was kind of hoping for more of a twist.
Meeting of the Midnight Society closed. Until next time.
As they all cheers their juice. Oh, or use it to put out the fire. Okay. So that was my first time watching Are You Afraid of the Dark? Season 1, Episode 8. It wasn't my favorite episode. I like that we explored something other than ghosts. Ghosts have been the majority of the episodes we've seen so far, you know, a ghost story. So to have these vampires, I like that they're exploring, you know, other supernatural elements. But again, it's just, I was waiting for a twist or something. When they walked out with the cooler, I was like, okay, they set it up. It's kind of a lame, you know, cop out to just be like, oh, we just work for the like, you know, I was like, okay, fine, they're not actually vampires, you know, she was just, all these stereotypes and all these things, you know, were seeming very much like they were vampires, and it's like, okay, they're gonna go into the basement and they're gonna find nothing, and, you know, there's obviously an explanation for the blood, although, again, it doesn't seem logical that they would store them at home, whatever, but then they just turn out to be vampires, and the kid is the ringleader. Like, that was the twist, is that if you've seen any, you know, vampire show, you can check out my Buffy reactions as well, but the master is the guy in charge. You know, he's the one who's creating the vampires and leading them, and it turns out the kid Lex was the master. And I would have assumed that, you know, the parents would have made the child vampire instead of, or the adults would have made the child vampire and not the other way around. But here we are, and, you know, they're like, here you go, master, and he's what's locked behind this door. So they can still somehow go out in the light, so they're not vampires, obviously, but, you know, Lex is, and they're helping him maintain his vampireness because someone has to go out in the sun and get him food. And obviously they're, you know, working at the hospital as these paramedics have this cover and access to blood. So that was the twist, I guess, is that the parents aren't vampires. It's just Lex, but I feel like he's going to turn them into vampires at some point, just based on any, you know, vampire movie or TV show that I've seen. That's kind of how it goes. But obviously we saw them out in the day, and that would, you know, cancel out them being a vampire. But yeah, just not my favorite episode, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of The Gentleman, just with like the all black clothing and the very pale faces, you know, from Buffy. And, you know, Fright Night, Salem's Lot, you know, that dream she has where the bedroom doors swings open and this vampire floats in on this fog. Very much, you know, those kind of movies. So it was cool to see that. And we also had the Night of the Living Dead reference at the beginning, which is the second episode to have Night of the Living Dead. Again, I'm assuming because it's copyright free and they wouldn't have to pay to use it. And I like this, you know, brother and sister. There was, you know, no bullying. Also, they seemed, you know, nice to each other, other than some like little bit of teasing, but that was normal. And their mom just being, you know, overly friendly and nice and inviting in the neighbors, and, you know, them setting up Lex to go play video games. And now obviously we know that Emma and Day Day are going to be the next victims, because that's the plot. And especially with everybody in town, like they just moved in and like the whole town's taken over. Like, how is that not suspicious? Like, how is nobody investigating this? Like, they were there like a week most, and the last house, you know, they kind of go to is the neighbor. But to see the mailman, you know, with this giant band-aid on his neck, and everybody in a giant band-aid, and the low energy, like all the stereotypical vampire things. So I wanted to be wrong. I wanted there to be a bigger twist and to find out something else. You know, I don't know what it would be, but yeah, it wasn't my favorite episode just because, again, it felt very predictable about where it was going to go. And like I said, even the twist with Lex being the master wasn't. But I am excited that they're exploring other supernatural elements. Maybe they'll do, you know, werewolves, you know, other creatures, anything like that. So yeah, this is the first one I've seen that hasn't been about a ghost. And I love that Emma knew so much about vampire lore. It can be a little frustrating as an audience member to be like, okay, like watch them go through everything and watch them make the mistakes, you know, and all the, you know, the horror movie tropes and everything. But she's like, we got to get garlic. Here's a cross you need to wear. Like, don't invite them in. Like, you know, checking the freezer. Will they be sleeping in coffins? Like, she knew, you know, quite a bit about vampires. So that was great. We kind of got to skip that step, and she was able to lead her brother, you know, on this search to try and figure it out. And they do find the cooler of blood, obviously, or the freezer of blood, but they don't make it in time to find Lex in the coffin, which obviously would have been a game changer. And she was like, yeah, we're just gonna go over there and stake them. And she had her baseball bat. Like, she seemed a little too excited to go kill these vampires and a little too, like, okay with it. She was like, yeah, we'll just head over there and, you know, stake them. And then, you know, yes, they're vampires, but, you know, they still look like people. But I'm definitely glad she knew so much about vampires. And this was one of the first episodes we've seen as well where members of the Midnight Society are questioning the story. Like, as soon as, you know, our storyteller sits down and starts telling the story, somebody else is like, oh, big eye roll, like, oh, I'm over this. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. Like, the story was kind of boring, and she's like, oh, it always has gore and it's boring. I mean, I guess the blood would be the gory part, but to me it was boring because it's just, again, so predictable. And yeah, the only benefit to me was that it was a slight change from a ghost story. But it's interesting to see them kind of question, like, they would probably have favorites within the group of whose stories they liked best, whose stories they didn't like. And this sounds like an event they don't do every day. Like maybe they get together once a week. I'm not sure what their schedule is, but you know, you come to this event, you're excited for the Midnight Society, and then it's so-and-so's turn to tell a story, and you're like, okay, suddenly less excited because you don't like their stories as much. And them talking about why things are scarier at night, especially since they sit around a campfire at night for every episode, and you know, they're not out in the day. And then to have an episode about vampires who obviously notoriously only come out at night, I thought was interesting. And you know, Kristen's second guessing, like, why don't we do this in the daytime? And we saw her get a little bit scared in the clown episode, so maybe she's just starting to get scared more. I don't know. But yeah, the name of the show is also Are You Afraid of the Dark, not Are You Afraid of the Light. Like, obviously they're going to be around in the dark, and you know, like they mentioned, in the dark there are things that come out that you might not be able to see because it's dark out, whereas during the daytime when it's light, it's a lot harder for something to like come up and sneak on you, or you know, try and hide and attack you, whereas in the dark they've got lots of options, unfortunately. Overall, I thought it was an okay episode. Again, it's just felt predictable, but I like that we're, you know, exploring other things like vampires now, so I'm hoping we get to do other monster episodes, you know, werewolves or other things like that, and not just have ghost stories constantly, and just kind of change it up from our usual ghost stories. I think that's exciting, and I thought, you know, the acting was good. This brother-sister dynamic felt real, and, you know, the sister being overly like, oh, they're vampires for sure. Like, she knew right away from the second they showed up. You know, she was very suspicious of them moving in at night, and the fridges did turn out to be fridges, but there was obviously a coffin involved as well. I wasn't sure where the twist was going to go, if there was going to be a twist even, and I was obviously hoping for a better one. And yeah, to me this episode was a bit of a letdown. I don't think I would watch it again, which is, you know, too bad coming off the previous few episodes, which I felt like were so strong. We didn't see any like vampire attacks. We saw his, you know, teeth come out when she had that dream, and that was basically it. And obviously Lex's teeth, you know, and the coffin as well, and you know, the freezer full of blood. But yeah, not a ton of gore or anything like that. And I was kind of hoping if they were going to do vampires, there would have been a little bit more nods to Dracula or something like that. Like, I know we had Night of the Living Dead playing on the TV, but that's not vampires. So yeah, I wish they would have snuck in a little bit more vampire lore, but I'm very glad Emma knew so much and we got to kind of speed through the learning process for her character. But thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content. Kid's like stress eating his popcorn. It looks coffin shaped, perhaps. Just knocks down the mailman and takes off. What a jerk. As they all cheers their juice. Oh, are you to put out the fire? Okay. I've done to suck your blood. Yep.